Hey everybody, welcome back. So, just a little update on progress. I was having some issues with my camera, so I didn't manage to get a lot of this recorded, but basically I got the ECU out and the air box and some of the hoses and stuff. I pulled all the fluids out and I just try to minimize any kind of a mess that might happen. Here's my power steering high pressure line. I just got things wrapped in cloths just in case, keep things out of the hoses and keep drips off the ground. So all the fuel lines are off. I managed to get 3 of the 5 injectors out. These 2 are very seized in, so we'll deal with that at a later date because I do want to tear this engine down and obviously put that on the channel as well, see what kind of carnage happened. So I suppose what I'll do is set the camera up and do a little bit of a time lapse and go from there. There's not a whole lot left to do. I've still got a little bit of the harness that needs to come out. I would like to ideally take the whole harness out of the car just so that it's out of the way. You don't have to worry about risking pinching wires or cracking anything. See what else we can do to try to make this a little bit easier of a process. So the heater hoses are off as well, and they're actually really simple to take off in this particular car. Just a couple of little squeeze clamps and pull them straight off, which is nice. If anybody has ever had to take heater hoses off a car, they know exactly what I mean. So basically what's left, I've still got a little bit wiring back here. I've got something plugged in down there, exhaust, drive shafts, got a coolant line here that needs to come off, and my boost pipes have to come off. No, sorry, I got that one off already. That one's got to come off. And fuel lines, get the transmission unhooked, the cable for the linkage, and a couple of plugs. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Right, so let me show you where we're at with this project. Got the high pressure fuel pump off, got the vacuum pump off. Looks like there's either an oil leak from this seal, which does feel pretty flat, or there's a fuel leak coming out of the pump, but there's a lot of crap right there. So I'll take you over to the car. Everything's off this side of the engine, so there's nothing connected anymore. That's just a vacuum hose that's no longer connected. Air intake linkage is off, transmission's unplugged, everything's off the front. Still got to move the AC pump out of the way. Everything over here is unhooked. There's nothing left over here. And then we get to the back of the engine. I don't know if you can see this in here, but there's 3 bolts here. There's one here, and one at the bottom at the back for the turbo that mounts onto the exhaust manifold. There's also 3 bolts. 3 bolts on the exhaust pipe coming out of the turbo, the down pipe. One here, and one down below. I managed to get this one broke free, but I'm gonna have to soak the other 2 because they're very, very, very tight. But once that exhaust is off, that will be pretty much everything ready to pull the engine. As I said before, all the fluids are pulled out of it. They're extracted completely, so we won't be making a mess on the ground. As you can see, there isn't a drop of anything but rainwater. And I swear, when these manufacturers and engineers get together, they sit at a round table and talk about what's the perfect size of a hole that we can put somewhere in an engine to fit a 10mm socket, but not quite big enough to fit fingers. Because I don't know if you saw it, but I dropped my 10mm, and it's down in there somewhere, but I'll get it, I guess, when the engine's out. Let's see if I can wipe off this identification tag for the transmission. Got a lot of junk on it. Japanese transmission. AISIN, which is what all of them have in them. So 80SC TF. If I remember right, I could be wrong here, I think that's the 6-speed auto. Sorry for the wind. So this hole here is where the high pressure fuel pump mounts to. There's 3 bolts, and the one right behind it there, the other cam driven, that's where the vacuum pump sits. So as you can see, I've got a pretty good amount of clearance in here. I think it'll be just fine, honestly. Once I have that exhaust unhooked and out of the way, I have no doubt that this engine will come right up out of the top easily enough, because it's not super low. On the subframe, looks like I got a broken mount here. Try to pick that out. I'll do it another time. It's not sitting super low in the subframe, and even just as it's sitting, I can almost get my hand in between here. So I think once I've got the axle shafts and in the exhaust off of it, as I said, engine and gearbox will come right up out, no problem. So that's good anyway. This stupid little thing here, this is a turbo actuator on the Euro 3 and engine mount control, because as I said before, these engine mounts have vacuum ports on them, so at an idle it pulls vacuum on the engine mounts and makes it more solid. But And this car, because the turbo actuator is actually electric, because it's a Euro 4, that's when they changed it. This is literally just for the engine mounts, so I don't know if I'm gonna bother with that. I might just plug that port going into the vacuum pump for it, just because they are so problematic. And the engine mounts are fine, other than broken vacuum port on the front one, which always is. So yeah, we'll see. I might not put that back together. It's just a simplification process, you know. But yeah, so everything's unhooked anyway. This lower radiator hose is disconnected and empty, but I have it plugged into the into the radiator. Just simply drips. I don't want any fluids at all on the ground with this. So yeah, that's where we're at. I think everything will be fine. I don't actually think I'll have to move that ABS pump at all, because I only need to bring this up off of the mounts a little bit, probably 3-4 inches, and then I can turn it and pull it straight out. And when I have this stuff off of the front of the engine, so the power steering pump and the alternator and the air conditioning pump, that's going to stay in the car. I'm just going to unhook it and push it forward, let it sit on the subframe, just so I won't have to recharge it, and save what money I can. As far as the power steering pump and the alternator, they're already unhooked. I just got to take the belt off and then I can take them out. So that'll give me a lot more room on the front of the engine as well. So in the process of pulling it, if I have to pull it forward any, I've got more than enough room to do that. I started taking this upper radiator support off because my plan was to take the whole pack out, but I'm not even going to need to do that. So I'll put these bolts back in. It's not necessary. So yeah, that's where we're at. Just a quick overview. There's a line here, a line here. That's for the transmission cooler, and they're just quick release. I still do have to pull the fluid out of that. The exhaust and axle shafts, and then just double check, triple check everything, make sure I'm not missing anything, and pull it. So there it is. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, I appreciate all my viewers, and I know a couple of you are OG viewers. I appreciate that you've stuck around this long. So enjoy the series. Hopefully it won't be too long before we get some more updates.